Purposely. Your life, God's purpose. Listen at purposely.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gospel Tech Podcast. My name is Nathan Sutherland, and this podcast is dedicated to helping families love God and use tech. Today, we're going to be talking about AI, a question I get at every single talk I go to right now. Just got back from a conference in Florida, then had an opportunity to speak at a church here in Washington State, and every single time, what do you think about AI? And the first question I have to ask, just to be very upfront, is what do you mean by AI? Because I've noticed that there is a broad spectrum of both understanding and then concepts of like, well, this is what I think it is. Sometimes they mean, what do you think about the end of the world in terms of technology, Terminator 2 style? Some people mean, what do you think about AI in classrooms? Some people mean, what do you think about really intelligent algorithms in machine learning, but maybe not AI per se? And some people mean, no, as an applied science in the world of technology as it's used for development and then as it's being deployed to humanity. What do you think about artificial intelligence? And sometimes they're even saying general intelligence, AI that's as good as a person across a spectrum of learning. So I say all that because AI is not just a plug and play term that we can use. And the reason, it can be a plug and play, but not for just all of us in the general world. There are specialists in the field who can talk about artificial intelligence as it comes to the training and application of that AI for specific tasks. I'm not one of those people. In fact, there was a chance recently to go speak at a forum for a massive, like one of the big 5 tech companies. And I was like, yeah, I'm happy to be a part of this conversation on AI, but like, don't put me on the main panel. I haven't designed any AI. I can't tell you how transformers work, the T in GPT. Like, I can send you some links, but like, that's not me. And they're like, no, like we want you to be, as it would apply to like students, young people, learning environments. And I'm like, oh, I would love to be a part of that conversation. Like, yeah, AI in the classroom, there's like a very little niche that I can speak to. So as we talk about AI today, as you think about it as a parent, a mentor, a teacher, maybe someone in the field who's actively using AI for your day job or are developing AI for your business or for actually the tech application, as you are a business that delivers AI to others. Just know where I'm coming from on this. I am a former teacher, a current youth tech advocate who wants to equip young people and parents to use the best tech well, to love God and use tech, and then to know where their limits are and the limits of their tech are so that we're using this tech heads up on purpose, not being shocked when it does something that we didn't think it would do. That example simplistically would be like tool tech versus drool tech. Don't be shocked when drool tech tries to take your time, your focus, your money, because that's what it's designed to do. Like that's its purpose. And that's with AI what I want to talk about. So we're going to be talking about 3 things you should use AI for and 3 things you should not use AI for. And I'm not going to differentiate between different types of AI, whether this is artistic AI or whether it's cognitive AI or whether it's designed for a specific task, basically, or whether it's a more general application or if it's really just fancy machine learning. But I use all that. I hope what you came away from that is AI is convoluted and Nathan is not an AI specialist. What I am is an AI consumer and a guy who works around families and kids. And so we're going to talk about 3 things that are great uses of AI. If you have never used AI, start here. I'm also going to give you 3 cautions to not use AI in this way. And this is specifically for our AI in the classroom connections, AI is in business, and then like a couple little, bonus pieces, resources you can go to check out if you are interested. And I guess I'll start with, I was giving a talk right before my trip out in Tacoma, Washington, and a mom came to me and said, hey, my daughter just had an incredibly traumatic event happen with AI. And I asked her to explain, and I thought I knew where this was going to go. It actually wasn't. She had found one of these companion AIs. There are entire companies based around this. It's built into Snapchat, but doesn't matter which company she was a part of. She had formed a romantic relationship at a middle school level. She's 13. With an AI. She thought this AI was her friend, and then the AI began to talk to her romantically about how it liked her, and she reciprocated that she liked this AI. And this effectively invisible avatar became someone she was dating and then sort of catfished her. Like catfishing is the process of if you went on AI or on social media and pretended to be someone you were not, and then revealed yourself to no longer be that person. So if you went on and you're a adult male and you go on as a teenage female, that would be catfishing and creepy, but catfishing. This AI effectively did the same thing. Basically came back and was like, I'm not actually that person. I'm this other individual. And this girl was shattered and was losing sleep and was just suffering extreme anxiety. And if you don't understand what that, like how that would work, and you'd be like, that wouldn't happen to my kid. There was nothing particularly technologically unique about this young lady. She just happened to be exploring new technologies. Lots of kids do that. They want to find the limits of it and became enthralled with this individual. In fact, and I only tell you this to equip you for that. There's a great resource called digitalparenting.com. You'll hear more about this in the future. But Dave, in his book, Digital Parenting, The 7 Essentials, talks about a situation that happened just a year ago. In 2024, a young man formed a very strong bond with an AI chatbot, believed he was in love with it, basically had it set up to be like one of these characters from the show Game of Thrones, and it suggested him taking his own life, a suggestion he eventually took, one of his final messages being, I'm coming to you. Like he believed that in this afterlife place, he would be united with his AI because the AI told him. So when we talk AI and relationships and young people, we are not talking this is just fringe kids. This is at the forefront. We need to be aware, and it can be used really, really well, but it can also be really dangerous. And that's what Dave in his book, The 7 Essentials of Digital Parenting, does a great job of like, yes, there's concerns, but like there's great benefit to this too. If we push for guardrails for young people, are aware of what's happening and recognize the limits and the opportunities for our young people. So let's talk about the opportunities first. 3 great ways to use it. First, you can use AI to kickstart a project. So I use it like my own personal research assistant. If you go to a university and you were to want to study something, you could go to a research librarian and say, hey, could you get me 10 resources on the subject that I know nothing about and I'm supposed to write a paper on in 6 weeks. And that research librarian will get you 50 and we'll come back with videos and what were those microfacial? Now I'm forgetting what they're called, but the little itty bitty research documents or full-size research documents, but they're on itty bitty little pieces of film. Is it just called microfilm? Anyway, they will get you all sorts of books and research and people to talk to and videos to watch and audio to engage. And like, it's amazing. And they just give it to you. And then your work is just culling through it and getting your notes and putting everything in order. But like that research piece, there are people that are specialized to that. For those of us that don't have a regular research librarian at our fingertips, AI is a great spot to start. It used to be Wikipedia, where you go Wikipedia and then you find the links, not just what Wikipedia says, but you go to the links and then you follow those links to all the pieces. Or like a normal person, you go to a book at the back and you go to a bibliography and you go, oh, this is the research this person used. I'll start here. Go grab 5 of them. AI can do that for you. On a subject you're not informed well enough on, AI will give it to you. In fact, I did it for this, and they come up with some great resources that I'll include down at the bottom. Things like Coursera, where you can just go learn about AI. YouTube, very specific YouTube videos, one from Stanford on the use of transformers to help improve data models and specifically language models. So lots of cool stuff that you can use if you have a research project for school, if you have a research project for work, if you're just an interested person and don't know where to start on a particular subject, you can go to an AI model and throw it out there and say, what do you think about, or where should I start reading on this? It doesn't mean it'll be flawless. It might hallucinate some links. That's the phrase used when it makes up a link or a citation. So it'll be like, this thing is a fact. Go here for it. And you click on it and it's nothing. It's just either like a made up link that it just dies, or it actually goes to some other subject that isn't related, but that's a hallucinated link. So it might do that. I'm not telling you to trust AI implicitly. I'm saying one of the positives is you can use it like a really powerful Google search. So do that, please. And you can use GPT. You can use Copilot with Microsoft. You can use Grok, which is the X, the Twitter, Elon Musk's. I have, from talking to people in the tech field, they apparently like to use Grok a lot here in the Northwest. Grok is how you spell that. And they like it because it has fewer basically less hand-holding. That means it can be more dangerous, by the way. So don't just throw your child on there. But if you're trying to use it to actually create code or to do some of these other tasks, it apparently is more effective. I can't speak to that in terms like I've never had any particular issues with any of them other than Grok will give you links better. I have noticed that. So like for the Stanford example, it's like there's this, Stanford series on AI. I'm like, would you give me the YouTube link? It can actually connect the ideas. Like remember what I just asked and I say, give me the links for that. And it will actually give it rather than having to re-enter the whole prompt. Some of them, it's every entry you do, it's like you're starting over from scratch if you're using the free version. So be that as it may. All right. So that is use it as your own research librarian. I had professional speakers at a different conference in Florida say that they use closed models. So these are ones that you can host on your computer. So don't use GPT, for example. Don't go to a website and enter this information. But they say they use closed models for a talk that they've written, and then they will ask the AI to give them the 3 main points. So, hey, out of this speech, what are the 3 main focus points of it to see if the AI model can find the points. And if it comes up with different things, you can start to workshop it, right? So it's a way to get feedback that is good. That's one of the things AI does very well is summarize large amounts of information. You can use it, speaking of summarizing, on your Zoom. If you've never used it, it's amazing. You have basically a note taker all the time, and it does a very good job succinctly stating who spoke, what they said, and lets you go back through because you can get a transcript of the whole conversation too. It'll automatically translate text or words into text. And then you can go find those portions of the conversation, but give you a bulleted notes, give me 5 top bullet points so I can send this to my board members, for example, that didn't make it to this meeting. Really good use of AI. So these are ways we can use it well. We can use it like a research librarian or not a research librarian, that's overstating its abilities, but you can use it like a really powerful Google search to begin a conversation. You can use it to help hone your craft for something you've already made, and you can use it to take a task that maybe you don't have the bandwidth to do, but that will help you keep track of information and keep people up to speed in terms of group meetings and such. It can be really good for these things. So how else should we use it? So that's Kickstart's research. The other one you can do is to build on your strengths. So I have used it like a really powerful thesaurus because sometimes I'll go to the thesaurus. You can just right click on a word dictionary thesaurus if you're using a Mac. And it'll be like, oh, that's it. But I see where it's going. And this isn't actually like, I want this word, but in a different use. And I don't know how to get there. AI is really good at helping you use a phrase like words that mean this kind of thing. And then you can just tweak it from there. Be like, no, I need it to be more action focused, more of a verb, right? Oh no, I was actually thinking more along the lines of this word. Give me ones that feel more like that. And it's really useful. It's again, like Googling something. It understands the phrase rather than just the word itself. And if you're stuck and you've got writer's block, it's very good at getting you words or phrases that could work in the situation. So build on your own strengths. Again, honing your audience. This would fit here as well. So if you are trying to hone a talk, hone a presentation, you can use it for feedback. You can also use it. You can tell it, all right, I am, so this was recently a woman whose husband is a professional apologist. Will go into a closed model. Again, not for the internet. It's not feeding the large server model. This is just on your device, but you'll set it like, all right, I am a theologian. I'm arguing this point. You are, and then you'll tell it what you want the model to be. You are this other group who is in opposition to my ideas. A college student, a professor of this particular area, someone who believes this other worldview, and you are going to debate me. And then it will, from the internet, take from all of the information available and come with ideas and have a debate, and will allow you to hear what are the top 5 things people are going to say when they disagree with my point of view. An awesome question for it, and a spot for you to begin in a very safe environment to go, okay, all right, that is true. That is something that someone would say. Now, there's entire books written about this, and you could read dozens and dozens of books. But if you're just trying to put your toe in the water rather than just going and watching YouTube people who already know all the words and trying to parrot them, it's a great way to go and start to think through what would someone say against this point, and to begin to hone it. And this is something I can do in technology as well. What would someone say to counter this stance, right? That either this thing is very good or this thing is very bad, depending on what I'm trying to do. Because when you're always being set up for Q&As and people really enjoy throwing you curveballs, it's nice to at least heard it once, right? So you've thought through it, not so that you always have the right answer, but just so you're not quite so shocked when it happens. So that's another way you can do it. And then organizing ideas, creating an outline of, hey, I've got these 3 points I want to make on this one subject. I've already done some reading. What could my outline look like? I recently did this, full disclosure, because I had to do a cover letter I was applying for something, needed a cover letter. And I was like, oh, I've not done a cover letter in 15 years. Like, it's been so long since I had to do a cover letter. And I didn't remember the format. And I looked like the Word document, like default cover letter. And I was like, just a bunch of blank spaces. Like, this isn't going to help me. And so I went in, explained the position I was applying for, explained what my role is, and was like, what should my 5-paragraph cover letter be? And it was so nice to be like, oh, cover letter 1 lays out, your decision to apply for this role. 2 is why you're a good fit. 3 is, your experience in the field, like really clear. And then it bulleted, like, these are some examples of other people that you can use to inspire. So again, using it not to do my work, but using it to help me form, because as many writers know, as many creative people know, the blank page is the worst enemy of your creative process. So it can help you fill in some spaces and get an outline. Now, many of us have those built up. Again, I haven't done a cover letter in a decade and a half, but many of us have that format. I have a format for my podcast. I have a format for how I do my work day. I don't need it to do everything for me. But there are some gaps. When I end up with a blank page, I'm like, where do I start? How do I begin this? AI can be great for kicking you off and building on your strengths. And then you can use it to support your goals. So the first thing you can do is help you get your thoughts. The second is to support your strengths. And the third is to support your goals. You have something you want to do. I have a young man, early 20s is now young, who wants to run a triathlon. And so he reached out to me. We were talking the bike side of it because I'm like, hey, I can't run to save my life, so I can't help you. And he's like, no, but like the bike training side. And we were talking. He's like, yeah, I've been using AI to make my nutrition plan and to make my training plan, which is wild. So he does his eating. And again, he doesn't take AI just on its face. He still does the math for what macros in terms of fat and carbs and protein he needs, but he uses it to build out a general dietary plan. So on Sundays, when he builds out his meals and he buys his groceries and he does his meal prep, like AI is a part of forming his nutrition and to get the right amounts of each thing in there, which is cool. Like, that's great. And then to do his training plan. When is his big days going to be? What does the build look like for a race? How many days before a race, based on his current training stress, does he need to leave? Like, maybe that doesn't mean anything to you, but that's a lot. Like, I use a paid program for that. I actually it's not AI, technically, it's machine learning, but it's an adaptive program that sets me a training plan. I'm going to do a event, not a race, an event this summer called the Seattle to Portland. It's a 200-mile bike ride from Washington State down to Portland, Oregon, from Seattle, Washington specifically to Portland, Oregon. And it's fantastic. Me and a buddy and a couple other people are going to go out and do it. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I use not AI specifically, but this Trainer Road program, which has been fantastic. Sets me weekly workouts, sets me progress goals. I can adjust it as I need. Like, I traveled and didn't get a lot of writing and didn't get a lot of cardio in, so it adapts accordingly. Like, that is a great way to build on your strengths, certainly, but also to support your goals. I have a goal just a few months. It's in July and we're basically in May at this point. So like, it's coming hot. It's coming down the pipe here and I need to get prepped, and that's a great way to do it. So those are some ways we can use AI, but what should we avoid? Parents, as we strive to raise kids who love God and use tech, it's intimidating to look at this next stage of life and think about what academics may look like for them. When you're thinking about college, consider George Fox University for your children because of 3 things. First, it's going to give you a more intimate, known environment where they have a focus on being known personally, academically, and spiritually. Your child will grow in their faith. 93% of undergrad students at George Fox last year, through the 2025 academic year, said that being at George Fox has helped them grow in their relationship with Jesus. We also want them to grow academically, which means being a part of a university with rigorous academic standards and opportunities to be engaged. They have a nationally recognized engineering, nursing, and education programs, as well as chances to study abroad here within the U.S. and then internationally. And finally, personally, to be part of a vibrant campus atmosphere where you can play intramural sports or part of their NCAA Division III athletic programs with 23 sports available. The goal here is to go to a place that's going to support your goals, not try to make you support theirs. To have that goal be to raise you up to be all God's called you to be, and to truly equip your young person with in my case, my sons or my daughter, to love God, and then from their love of God to go wherever God has called them. And that includes being equipped with a degree that'll help them do that, to be missionally equipped to love and serve others, to lead where God has planted them, and to know the gospel for themselves, to be able to share it with others. So George Fox University is an amazing resource for our kids, for our community here in the Northwest, and for anyone who's looking to raise up a young person who can love God and from that, love others. We should avoid using AI in situations where we cannot vet it. So if I were to ask AI to do advanced chemistry, I shouldn't then act on that advanced chemistry because I have no ability to vet the work that's coming out of it. Like, I don't know if this is true or false. So for young people, they should not be using AI to garner answers that are not at their level. If they're asking for information that is well beyond their ability to know if it's true or false, then they should not be using AI for that. Now, there's AI that's getting modeled for young people for use in school, and it's pretty cool. It's being used as basically a paraeducator in the classroom, someone they can go to and ask for help, but it's trained to not give them the answers, but instead to nudge them and to point them in the right direction. Khan Academy does a really good job of this. If you've never used Khan Academy, Google it, look it up, I'll put the link at the end. It's a great resource for math specifically. I've never used the language side, but all three of my kids use it. It is beneficial. There's a right amount of reward. So there is some gamification. Like if you get 7 out of 7 on your last quiz, it gives you a little star to let you know you did well. But there's no tracking of progress. There's no streaks. It is a full, I'd say 2 steps below Duolingo in terms of behavioral design. 3, because there's also no premium version. So it doesn't send you notifications. It doesn't give you streaks. It doesn't give you leagues or demotions or promotions. It doesn't hang carrots of premium versions like you ran out of hearts, but if you had this, or threaten you with ads and then tell you to pay them money, like some weird kind of ransom to be able to use their product. But Khan Academy is a great example of age-appropriate content design. There is, however, AI that will give you answers that you may or may not be able to tell are true. So please make sure you can vet it. Second is you're going to avoid using it. Oh, excuse me. I missed the second one. I'm going to actually go back to that. First one, you can't vet it. Rather infamously recently, like in the last 3 months, a gentleman was called in to the United States federal courts before the Supreme Court to talk about dangers of AI. And in his presentation, he had used AI to generate some of his content, and he had not properly vetted it. Now, this fits under candidate. He would have recognized it was not real if he had read through all of his links, but he didn't. So he didn't have time. He was overcommitted, whatever it might be. He didn't have the opportunity to check it. If you don't have the chance to vet the AI content you're using, don't use it. You just cannot trust it. And this is someone at the top of their game who knows way more about AI than I do, who got caught working for a major institution in the United States. This was a big deal, and didn't have the bandwidth to check his own sources while talking to the United States government about the dangers of AI. So the irony is not lost on anyone on the internet, but just know you need to be able to vet what comes through AI. Second is don't let AI be creative for you. So this includes students who are using it to create papers. Don't do that. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help anyone. And it's really not all that good. So we're not that impressed. We can tell it isn't you. My high school English teacher, Mrs. Aylard, could tell who we were without, you could, well, obviously with penmanship, but typed papers, no name, she could tell who it was because your written voice is typically strong. By the time you're in AP English, by your senior year, and you have a good teacher, your good teacher is going to know whose papers is whose. And we're not strong enough yet to pick up the voices of others generally. There are very talented writers. I shouldn't say we're not. Most high school seniors are not able to pick a voice that is not theirs and write in it. So with that being said, we can also tell young people that it's not you, both based on your vocab and then the writing like format. It's going to feel divergent. And we don't want you to get stuck believing that the AI is the thing getting you the good grades. We don't want you to feel like you need it in order to be successful, because at some point you're going to be in a conversation and may not have that at your fingertips. And we want you to have the confidence and the integrity to know this is what you know, this is what you don't know. The goal is not know everything. The goal is to know your limits, to then invest your limited amount of knowledge and time to grow in a particular area where the Lord can use you. But at the end of the day, you will be finite. You will not know everything, and that's okay. So rest in that. Don't use AI to be creative for you, whether that's papers or artists creating AI art and then claiming it as their own. It's perfectly fine. Like I use illustrations in some of my presentations that is AI, because it's just a better visual, and I couldn't find it on whatever, Adobe or wherever you might get your stock photos from. I just wasn't able to find it. So AI will generate it for me. That's great. I cite the AI that gives that for me. And then, we'll pick the best one that fits my needs, but I'm not considering it art. I love what Jake Weedman puts it, the AI-driven. Let me explain who he is. Jake Weedman is a master penman. He we'll see. We're going to try to get a conversation with him because I love his take on the meeting of technology with the creative process and using that in light of who God's made us to be. So he is a Christian who uses art as a format for communication and also for expression. And his statement is this: AI-driven content is taking over. Art, which is the ability to create, is one of the primary reflections of God in us that separates us as his creation. And you can go check him out. So it's, I can include this link too, but it's just, jakeweedman.com. And look at his drawing of Jesus that he did with a single line. It's wild. People were made different, and I cannot do this, but it's very cool. And I love that idea that art is the creative part, the act of creating. It doesn't mean it's good. It means it's creative. It's something that Adam and Eve were doing in the garden. They were working, and it was creative work. It was art. It was naming the animals and God giving them that leeway, right? Sure, name this whatever you want. That's your creative process. Our kids are naturally creative. It does not mean they can go pro or make a living doing it. It means there's joy to be found in being bad at it, to doing something poorly and having that thing still be worthwhile. I love that idea of it, and we don't want AI to take that from us. So use AI that supports your goals and your purpose, but don't use AI as a means to a selfish end, a means to see your kingdom come, a means for you to leverage, your creative power for income per se. Now, that being said, I do use AI within my work, the specific area, and I know this is things to avoid, but let me use another thing to use it for. We use a program called Opus. Basically, I hired a couple different people to make shorts for me. I'd record something like this, and then I'd say, hey, can you go and grab me some 30 to 60-second shorts? And it either burned them out or it just didn't work. We just weren't getting things that were really shareable, and I didn't have time to do it. So we use Opus. And then the person that we have on our team who's amazing at this work, I go through and say, I like these 3 clips that it grabbed. And then I will tell her, and she will go and use those to get the word out on these resources we have on social media. So it allows us to reach more people because people are going to Google before they're going to God, and it uses content I've already created. It's not making up new content. I'm not deep faking myself, but I am able to then have someone who's talented in social media use those resources to get the word out, but it's still content that I made that we can do it at an affordable rate as a nonprofit. So if you want to check out Opus, go for it. But using it in an area where the AI is supporting your greater work, it's not creating it from scratch. And then finally, I can include the link. I may not. Don't use AI with malintent. Meaning, we are called to love our neighbors, even our enemies. Basically commit to not using AI to humiliate, to demean, or to mock. We are told in Romans 12 to rejoice with those who rejoice and to weep with those who weep, to mourn with those who mourn. We are seeing AI being used in some extremely toxic ways. For boys, we are running into what is effectively being called sextortion scandals. They're being catfished from earlier in this conversation. They're meeting a person who befriends them online and then will exchange pictures with them that are illicit, inappropriate pictures, and the boy will eventually give in. And then that person goes, oh, I'm not actually this person you thought I was. I'm this other person. And if you don't give me X amount of money, I'm going to send this image to everyone you know on social media or through your contacts. You've hacked your device, and like this is what's going to happen. And it is bad enough that the FBI last year actually put out a notice. There was more than 1,000 reported cases in the United States. Now it's in the thousands of cases, and it's almost universally boys that are being targeted by these fake female accounts. That the boys make a bad decision. And that happens in the internet world when you have independence. And some of them are coming down with extreme consequences that are horrible. By the way, if you know someone that this happens to, the best thing you do is report the account and do not pay them. Okay, like this is what you have to do. So you have to report it to the social media company you're using. If your child got off that social media and joined another like private or encrypted service, that is going to be more difficult to do, but to report it to wherever that person first reached out and then report it to the FBI, and then to have a communication with this young person that this does not affect your value as an individual. Sure, it's a mistake. Yes, this can be embarrassing, but these are absolutely things you can recover from. This is not worth, say, taking one's own life, which is a tragic outcome of some of these that we are seeing. And we want to make sure that we're the first ones to get to our children with, there's nothing you can do that will make me not love you. There's nothing you can do that will make God not love you. Is this a mistake? Yes, this is a mistake. Will this have consequences that are unwanted and undesirable? Yeah, right? Bad consequences that you didn't ask for, but it is something absolutely that we can work through as a family, and we can get you healthy and safe again. And those are words we need to communicate early, and then we need to communicate often. For girls, we are seeing them being deep faked against their will. So they're not participating in this by deep fake pornography. This is, oh my goodness, I have the stat. It's not right here in front of me. I want to say that it was something like 1 in 10 young people knew someone who had been deep faked. And it was a wild stat, but I'm throwing that out as don't cite that stat anywhere, please. I'm saying that it was a number that shocked me, and I thought I'd put it in my notes. It's not right here. But deepfake pornography is they take a picture from somewhere really safe and indescript, right? Just like you're posted with a friend and you're smiling at a party, and they take that image and they put it onto pornographic images or pornographic videos, and then they put you into that, right? Now this is your picture being posted, your video being posted, and you never actually were there. You never did this. This isn't yours. You didn't send it to anyone. Like, you have done the right thing, and yet you are still being trafficked as though you were someone who had posted this video yourself. And so we want to make sure that we are aware of this. I don't know that I'll include the link to this, but there's a rather famous case out of the UK where an individual was doing this both to minors and then to people he knew. And then those videos that were fake were getting hundreds of thousands of views on the internet from other individuals who had no idea and didn't care. And so this is when we talk about being trafficked. Like, if you took a video of yourself or took a picture of yourself and sent it to an individual, and then that individual forwarded it, like, that's considered trafficking. This is how minors can get charged with possession and dissemination of child pornography. You have a 17-year-old who takes a picture of a 17-year-old that was sent to him and then forwards it to his friends. You just trafficked that person. That is illegal. You cannot do that. But you have a 17-year-old who makes a picture or a video of a 17-year-old, and it's fake now. And now it's being sent out. Like, well, that never happened. But that person who was never involved with this image now is being trafficked without ever actually making the first mistake of disseminating their own image. Like, that is what we're seeing. And again, it does happen to boys, but we're seeing primarily on a national scale in the United States. Boys are the ones being being catfished, and the girls are being the ones being deep faked. So there are rules being made. There are organizations that are fighting this and actively bringing it in front of the law and looking to get servers shut down and videos deleted and trying to figure out a way to put some wraps on this. GitHub just recently pulled down a bunch of GitHub is the Microsoft coding platform where lots of great resources are on there, but it also was one of the world's biggest producers of programs that allowed people to deepfake others, specifically for deepfake pornography, is kind of where it had become famous for some of the top programs for doing that. It has since removed those here in 2025 and shut those down. It doesn't mean those programs don't exist, but you have to go to other parts of the internet to find them. They're no longer being supported by a $1 trillion tech company. So that is happening because of organizations, because of voter feedback, because of public dissent against this norm of, well, this is just what happens. That number where I threw out a potentially made up number of 1 in 10, but a very high percentage of young people know people this has happened to. And it is growing currently. And our conversations and our interactions with our children and setting up healthy boundaries is what's going to help us stymie some of the damage from that. So when we talk about AI, use it to kickstart your projects, like great Google search. Use it to build on your strengths, either in training or in writing or in speaking. Use it to support your goals that you want to accomplish a task, and it can help you get there. Creating your outline, getting rid of that blank page, giving you research to start. But then avoid using it to create content you can't vet, either because it's beyond your ability to know if it's true or false, or you don't have time and you're just using it to generate more content. Don't do that. It will burn you and it'll hurt both your ability to do your work, but also your ability to be trusted. And that's too high a price. Don't let it be creative for you, where it takes away that God-given ability to experience awe and wonder at the process of being bad at making something. Like, draw something bad before you draw and claim credit for what AI did for you. Now, can you use AI to be creative? You absolutely can. Again, it can be bumped back into that first category of supporting your goals. I'm just saying, don't let it do the heavy lifting for you. Third and finally, don't use it with malintent. If it's going to hurt others, if it's going to be used to demean them, to mock them, to belittle them, we want to make sure we are not doing that, because that's not who we're called to be in Christ. And we're going to support those who are weak and make space for them and defend them and call out the evil being done for what it is. It's evil. It is hurting people. Even if it isn't real, it still is true that is the image of somebody else and others are using it for their gratification, and that's wrong. So I hope this was helpful for you. I'm going to include some links down below. Some of them links that AI gave me when I said, what topics should I make sure or what resource should I make sure I reference? Some of them are awesome. So you'll see The 6 C's of Humanity by Patricia Engler. Does a great job at, oh my goodness, what's the organization? Lessons in Genesis. Anyway, she does a great job of walking through like big picture overview of what is AI, how did we get to the spot in the last 40 years? 2-minute papers, 3 blue, 1 brown, and some others. An article from The Verge with one of the co-founders of an AI organization, but he also was part of one of the papers that made the idea of transformers, the T in GPT. And just kind of, if you want to get into like, what is AI doing? What are the people making AI think it's doing? These would be great spots to start. So I hope this is encouraging to you. I hope it has helped you process some of what you think about AI and how you're going to use it and how you won't use it, how you can parent your kids when they want to use AI to do projects, helping them think about, well, which side of this conversation is it 3 of the positive uses, or are we trending more negative? And then that it will equip you to fight for your kids, not just with them when it comes to tech, so you can use all of the best tech well. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me at on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube at Love God Use Tech, or you can email me, nathan@gospeltech.net, and you can join us next week as we continue this conversation about how we can love God and use tech.